Adesewa was born beneath the shadow of gods, but she never asked to belong to them. They claimed her as an infant, plucked from her mother's breast with chants and palm wine, and swaddled her in white cloth, calling her a bride of spirits. Her laughter was hushed before it ever learned to echo, her body cloaked in purity before it ever felt the heat of its own fire. She grew beneath the roof of the shrine, where the air was heavy with incense and secrets. Every day was a ritual, every breath a lesson in self-denial. Her hands knew how to bless water, how to pour libation, how to call on spirits, but they had never known the softness of another's skin. She prayed not because she believed, but because she feared what silence would let her feel. She had lived untouched for so long that her own heartbeat began to sound like temptation. But temptation has its own rhythm, and when Ifadare returned to the village for the New Yam festival, he brought it with him, carved in his walk, laced in his voice, soaked in the way his eyes lingered on her just a moment too long. They called him a master of the drum, a child of Ayan, whose hands could awaken the gods. But the first time Adesewa heard him play, something else awakened. The drum didn't sound like prayer that night. It sounded like breath, hot, deep, rising, like hips swaying in moonlight, like moans muffled by trembling hands. She felt it before she heard it, a slow roll in her belly, a tight pull low in her core. Her thighs pressed together, not out of shame, but from the ache of wanting to open. Each beat of his drum was a question her body had never been allowed to answer. And still, she followed him, barefoot, breathless. The sacred grove behind the shrine was hidden in shadow, but the fire in her chest lit every step. He was waiting, not proud, not demanding, just present, a man who knew the language of longing without a single word. When she reached him, she didn't speak. She didn't need to. Her fingers traced the edge of his chest, memorizing the warmth, the curve of muscle, the way he inhaled when she touched him like that. His lips hovered near hers, waiting. Her body gave the answer. She kissed him like she'd been starving. Not for food, not for freedom, but for this. This closeness, this collision. He undressed her as though unveiling a goddess, slowly, worshipfully. Her skin met the night air and shivered, not with cold, but anticipation. His hands learned her curves with reverence. His mouth explored her like sacred scripture. Her thighs opened like a secret she had never been brave enough to say aloud. And then, the rhythm. Not from the drum, but from their bodies. Flesh against flesh. Breath dancing between gasps. His name caught between her teeth. Her nails sinking into his back as waves of heat climbed through her. His hips rolled with the grace of thunder, and she matched him, pulse for pulse, sigh for sigh. She was no longer holy, no longer untouched. She was alive. She was a woman. Afterward, they lay tangled in silence, the sweat between them cooling in the breeze. She looked up at the stars, no longer feeling small beneath them.